Okay, so question number 5 is a lot like what we've just been doing. So you just took a quiz on this. And again, it's giving you 2 different equations to graph, and then we're going to find the difference at a certain point. So our first steps when we see this is to read the problem at first to see what each of the variables represent. So t is time, c is cost. And then if we go and break these equations apart, the first one is telling us that m is going to be this 50 right here because it's multiplied by the variable. So m is 50. And our b is being added or subtracted, so in this case it's 150. And same thing over here, m is going to be whatever is being multiplied by the t, so that's 50. And then our b is going to equal 250. So if you remember with slope, it might be easier to write this as 50 over 1. And over here, again, same thing, 50 over 1. So that's what each of these equations mean. When you're identifying the slope and intercept, you want to try and see what may be a good number to count by when you graph. On the quiz, I gave you what to count by, but it is a good idea to kind of figure out what you can. So because 50, 150, 50, and 250 are multiples by 50, it could be a good idea to count by 50s on the y-axis. So we remember that the x-axis always counts by 1. So I believe we can go up to 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the y-axis, I'll put these on there. And the y-axis, like we said, all of these count by 50, so it could be a good idea to count by 50s here. So if I'm doing that, the first box up will be 50. The second one will be 100. You don't have to label all of these, but just so you get the idea. Then we'd have 150. And then we can kind of keep counting up here. So you'll notice that I filled in the rest of this. I kind of skipped boxes, but again, we're still counting by 50. So 250, 300, 350, 400, 450, 500, and this is 550, and so on. So that's step 1, is just to label that graph. Then we can go ahead and take a look at our actual equations. So the first one is telling us m is 50 and b is 150. So we always start with the b. So that would be right here at 150. And then from there, we go up 50 and over 1. So again, we know that going up 50 does not necessarily mean 50 boxes because we counted by 50. So that's up 1 box and over 1. And to be more accurate, I would go up 1 and over 1 until you get to 6 because that's for part B what we're going to need. So it's not a bad idea to have all these points. You really only need 2 points, but because we don't have a ruler, it's a good idea to put all of those on. And then we take our line button and we can just draw straight through. So that's why it's a good idea to have more of these points, because it gets us a little bit more of an accurate graph. Okay, so that is going to be our domestic car. And then if we go ahead and do the foreign car starts at 250. But then this one also has a slope of 50, so that's still just going up 1 and over 1, just at a different starting point. So again, I'm putting all these points on just to make sure my line's a little bit more accurate because we're using Kami. Okay, so that is going to be our second line. Go ahead and fix it. Okay, so that's going to be our graph here for these 2 equations. So then for part B, it's saying use the graph to find the difference of the cost if a total repair takes 6 hours. So that's why I labeled up to 6. You can kind of take a peek at part B to see what you have to go up to. So all I'm doing is finding what each of them are at 6 hours and subtracting those 2 values. So if I take a look at 6 hours for the first one, 6 hours for the first one hits at 450, I believe. Yeah. So this will be the 0.6 comma 450. And the 6 is just there, so you see that that's at 6 hours. And it hits this line at 6 comma 550. So that will be our point for the second line. So all I'm doing is taking these y values and subtracting them. So if I take 550 minus 450, the difference at 6 hours is going to be $100, and that will be your answer for part B. So whatever these two values are, just subtract their y values, and that will get you the difference. So that's the review packet in total. So you can go ahead and look back at your review, fix any that you need to, and then on the test, you're more than welcome to use these videos to help you out.